Let's take a look at exercise 7 from section 8.1. Here we want to solve a quadratic equation using the square root property. So let's discuss the square root property and how we're going to apply that to this problem. So the square root property tells me that if I begin with a algebraic expression u and a real number k, then u squared equal k is equivalent to u equal negative square root of k or u equal positive square root of k. And another way to write this is u equal plus or minus square root of k. When you're entering your answers into my math lab, you will have to separate the two answers with a comma and put them in the solution set. So you won't have this option of using this plus or minus. In a written exam, however, when appropriate, you can use this. Okay, so we want to apply this property to this problem. So notice in this type of problem, here we want to solve x squared minus 169 equal to 0. Instead of having the 0 on the right side, we want to isolate whatever is being squared. In this problem that we're getting ready to solve, we want x squared to be isolated, and then we want a constant, a real number, on the other side of the equals. So in order for me to obtain that in this problem, I'm going to add 169 to both sides. So when I'm using this method, whatever I'm squaring, I want isolated on one side of the equation, and my constant I want on the other side of the equation. So this is different from factoring, when I'm solving by factoring. And now what the square root property tells me is if x squared is 169, and I want to kind of highlight this by using some colors. So notice if x squared is 169, then I can lose the power of 2 on the x on the left if I exchange it for a plus minus square root applied to what's on the right. So that's the trade-off. I can trade the exponent on the left, which is 2, the exponent of 2 on the left, with a plus or minus square root applied to the constant that's on the right. So in this case, that means x is plus or minus 13. Now in my math lab, you're going to need to enter the two answers separately, separating them with a comma. So in my math lab, the solution set is and the actual set will be there for you, and you'll just have to come in and enter your solutions, separating them with a comma. And notice on an exam, you would have to do all of this, but in my math lab, some of this is set up for you. All right, so this is how we apply the square root property to a quadratic equation.